Briana Bengalin, a close friend of Cassie, whose harrowing account not only intensified the case, but left the courtroom visibly shaken. According to Briana, the abuse was not just something she heard about, it was something she experienced firsthand. Day 16 of the Diddy trial delivered some of the most dramatic and unsettling testimony yet, pulling back the curtain further on a disturbing history of alleged abuse, control, and manipulation. Briana described a terrifying incident in which Diddy allegedly grabbed her and lifted her over the edge of a 17th floor balcony. In what felt like a scene from a crime film, she claimed he held her there, screaming angrily, while she had no idea what she had supposedly done to provoke such an extreme reaction. Moments later, he threw her onto the balcony furniture. This traumatic experience left her with both physical injuries and lasting psychological scars, including recurring nightmares and anxiety. This testimony comes against the backdrop of Briana and Cassie's close friendship, which included frequent drug use. Briana admitted that their relationship was deeply entangled in a cycle of partying and substance abuse, ranging from ketamine to cocaine, oxycodone, and marijuana. She even disclosed that she often acquired these drugs for Cassie and was financially compensated for doing so. The gravity of their shared addiction painted a picture of vulnerability that may have made them more susceptible to exploitation and control. Briana also revealed that Diddy had a pattern of violent and aggressive behavior. One particularly shocking moment she recalled involved Diddy allegedly barging into Cassie's home in a fit of rage and throwing a knife in her direction. Cassie threw it back, and the situation diffused without police involvement. Briana explained that they were too afraid to call for help, fearing what might follow. She also noted that she had witnessed physical injuries on Cassie on multiple occasions, including bruises that needed to be covered with makeup before public appearances. As the courtroom absorbed Briana's testimony, the prosecution brought in a forensic video expert to validate surveillance footage that has circulated widely in the media. The footage shows Diddy kicking and throwing Cassie to the ground. This expert, who had testified in dozens of criminal and civil cases before, confirmed that the video was authentic. While there were minor technical flaws, such as frame rate inconsistencies, due to the use of cheap security systems, the footage had not been edited or tampered with. He also clarified that although some motion-activated segments showed pixelation, it was the result of low-quality recording equipment, not manipulation. The video analysis went beyond the well-known assault footage. It included enhanced clips from surveillance systems and sealed, sexually explicit videos that were recovered from devices Cassie provided. These were dated between 2012 and 2014 and were enhanced to include audio, further documenting the abusive nature of their relationship. The video expert's testimony added another layer of credibility to the visual evidence already shaking the foundation of Diddy's defense. However, the defense strategy quickly became apparent. They aimed to undermine Briana's credibility. Diddy's attorney, Miss Westmoreland, subjected her to intense cross-examination. She highlighted contradictions between Briana's current testimony, earlier government interviews, and even the demand letters her previous attorney had sent. For instance, while Cassie's lawsuit stated that the balcony incident occurred in a hotel, Briana clarified it took place in Cassie's apartment. These inconsistencies, though seemingly minor, were used to sow doubt in the minds of the jury. The defense also questioned Briana's motivations, pointing out that she had filed a lawsuit seeking $10 million in damages. Adding to the skepticism was her admission that her first attorney had sent incorrect demand letters to Diddy, prompting her to replace him. The implication was clear. The defense wanted the jury to believe that Briana was motivated more by money than by justice. They pressed her on whether her actions were about seeking truth or simply a payday. But despite these attempts to discredit her, Briana's story remained emotionally powerful. She spoke of physical injuries, including a large bruise and neck pain from the balcony incident. She even brought up how the trauma led her to sobriety, marking the date of her decision with a tattoo. It was a raw and deeply personal account that highlighted the long-term effects of her experiences. When asked about her final encounter with Diddy and Cassie, she described an 8-hour drug binge involving ketamine in Miami, a moment that served as her rock bottom. One of the more revealing aspects of her testimony involved how Diddy allegedly tried to exert control not just through violence and intimidation, but also through financial and psychological means. Briana described him as manipulative and intimidating, using fear as a tool to maintain dominance. She recounted a chilling encounter where he got extremely close to her face and threatened her life. Even though she didn't initially report this to the authorities, she eventually included it in a demand letter through her attorney. The The defense seized on these delays and inconsistencies. They questioned why such a major threat wasn't disclosed during her first meeting with the government. They also pointed out contradictions between what she told prosecutors over multiple interviews and what was said in court. For example, the details of the balcony incident, including the type of drug she was using, her positioning, and what exactly was said, seemed to shift slightly with each retelling. Despite this, the underlying truth remained. Something traumatic happened to her, and she has lived with the consequences ever since. While minor details may have been confused over time, especially given that the events occurred nearly a decade ago, the emotional weight of her story was hard to ignore. The jury was clearly paying close attention, even as the defense chipped away at her credibility. In addition to Briana's testimony, the court session delved into the technological side of the case. The expert's explanation about corrupted video frames, buffering issues, and motion-activated recording systems offered context as to why some of the surveillance footage appeared jumpy or incomplete. He described how video files often use predictive frames to save data, and that footage was only captured when motion was detected. This explained why certain moments were missed, and why some parts of the footage seemed out of sync. Still, even with these limitations, the expert stood by the accuracy of what was shown, namely that Diddy had assaulted Cassie and it was captured on camera. This affirmation dealt a significant blow to the defense, which had tried to question the legitimacy of the footage. As the day wrapped up, the court faced technical issues that delayed some proceedings. The jury was temporarily dismissed, while staff worked to resolve these glitches. Meanwhile, the prosecution attempted to call additional witnesses, including Enrique Santos, though scheduling and tech challenges prevented further testimony that day. The video from Cuff Boys concludes with a reflection on the day's events. Despite inconsistencies in Briana's timeline and details, her core story still resonated. The image of a young woman being dangled over a balcony by a powerful man left a strong impression. While the defense succeeded in raising questions about her credibility, they couldn't erase the emotional impact of her words. Ultimately, Day 16 served as a pivotal moment in the trial, between the validation of disturbing video footage, detailed testimony about drug abuse and violence, and a chilling recounting of a life-threatening encounter. The day presented a complex but compelling picture of the abuse Cassie and her close friend allegedly endured. With each new witness, the court and the public gets a clearer view into the dark underbelly of Diddy's world and the damage left in its wake. As the trial continues, the question isn't just whether the defense can dismantle the credibility of witnesses like Briana, but whether the emotional and visual evidence is too powerful to be undone. For now, all eyes remain on the courtroom as the public waits to see what revelations the next day will bring. Guys, your support is very important to us, so don't forget to share, like, comment, and subscribe for more updates.